Team Hotel here in Ann Arbor. The Buckeyes are already on their way. They just landed about 10 minutes ago. We're awaiting them to show up here. The big questions as they get off the bus, they're going to be, is Carnell Tate here, and what is his status? Jeremiah Smith, we saw him get on the bus in Columbus, so we know he's here, and we heard him earlier on the Caleb Downs podcast say that he is ready to go. What we're going to show you here over our shoulder, the team is en route right now. It's about a 9-minute drive from the airport, so they'll make their way over here. We do have Tim May here. Tim, you want to come over and talk a little bit? I want to bring in Tim May from 97.1 The Fan, the Tim May podcast. And Tim, I want to get your initial thoughts kind of as we get set for this game and we await the team arrival. Yeah. What's your confidence level?
I don't know. I mean, my confidence level is I'm probably going to make the game sometime, somehow. Number two, with Ohio State, I think a concern I've been voicing all week is, will both of those wide receivers play? But if just one of them plays, I'm talking about Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, it changes everything from the standpoint of threat level of what you can throw at Michigan that they didn't see from Ohio State, for example, a week ago. But if you can just get one of those two guys on the field, and I really truly believe Jeremiah Smith's going to play, we'll see if Carnell Tate does too.
When you look, I think the biggest advantage for the Buckeyes here comes at the tight end position. We talked a little bit about that in our roundtable. How can Ohio State exploit the defense if Carnell Tate and Jeremiah don't play? We expect them both to play, but how can they still go out there and attack this Michigan defense?
Well, I still have in my brain Max Clare breaking deep on a little route last week when the play was going elsewhere, and by that time Julian Sayin has made up his mind where he's going with the ball. But yeah, there are things to be had with this offense. Obviously, they stacked 6 touchdowns together last week, and could have been 7 had it not been for a fumble at the beginning of the game. So they've got potency. They want to run the ball though, and tomorrow may dictate running the ball. When you're talking about winds 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the southeast, it's going to be cold. It's not really going to start snowing up here. It doesn't look like till about 3:30 when it would matter. But you got to get the running game going in somehow, some form. I know people are down on Ryan Day for what happened last year with the game plan, but you got to mix it up.
You definitely do. I feel pretty confident in this run game right now. I think the last 2 games have allowed them to really lean on that. Bo Jackson looks really good. I saw somebody message me today say he's going to have over 100 yards. I think that's a very good prediction if the Buckeyes win this game. If he has over 100 yards, I think things probably went pretty well.
Yeah.
We feel the cold right now, Tim. Michigan fans, they want that snow. They want that cold. How much do you think that actually impacts this game?
It impacts both teams. That's what people forget, And Michigan's had trouble throwing the ball down the field with consistency with Bryce Underwood, their freshman quarterback and stuff. So it would probably impact them a little more than it does Ohio State. From the standpoint of Ohio State's not just a one-headed monster. I don't think this win's going to be prohibitive when it comes to throwing the ball. It might be in one direction. You might have to do it first and third quarter. But with Michigan, and like you said, I mean, Ohio State's got an advantage at tight end going into this game. How many years has it been since you've been able to say that about Ohio State versus Michigan? So I think Ohio State will do a good job of mixing it up, or at least game plan-wise. But that's a $64,000 question that Ryan Day and Brian Hartline won't be able to answer until they get out there and see the conditions and see how Julian Sayin is dealing with it.
$64,000 question. I just want to check my phone here, see if we can get an update on...
That's revenue sharing.
All right, update on Ryan Day and the Buckeyes here. All right, give me 1 second here, see how close they are. And while I do that, I'm going to ask you one more question. Sorry, these gloves, it's too cold.
I know, man.
It's way too cold. When you look at this, who's going to be your player of the game? If the Buckeyes come out of here victorious, who's the key to the game?
I think it's going to be the quarterback, Julian Sayin. I know that's a cop-out answer. Your quarterback's got to make plays in this game. And I keep thinking back to, Art Schleister in 1981 with that run around right in behind Von Brognax. Things like that. Your Troy Smith pass to Anthony Gonzalez years ago. I mean, right on down the line, your quarterback has to play big in this game.
Do you think Julian Sayin's ready for a moment like this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the guy's been poised. He's been cool. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman. He's not a first-year player. He's the same age Rex Kern was when he first beat Michigan back in 1968 in terms of school-wise. Yeah, I think he's very much. I expect him to be poised. The question is, will everybody around him be the same way?
Where is your biggest question mark for the Buckeyes right now?
Just somebody slipping down, really. I mean, Ohio State's defense, we all know what's coming is Matt Patricia and his chess game against a freshman quarterback and an offensive line in Michigan that features 3 redshirt freshmen, and they've been mixing and matching that line a little bit. Their idea will be to confuse him and then, as Ryan Day says, go hunting up contact.
Okay. All right, Tim. What is your score prediction for those that didn't watch our Buckeye Roundtable?
Boy, if you didn't watch it, too bad.
I know you missed a good show.
Yeah, my score prediction was 31-20. Might be a late touchdown by Michigan to cut it to 20. I know you have a different view on things, but 31-20 sounds good to me.
I took your 31. I didn't steal it from you. I had it before. Just to be clear, I said it on Monday, all right? I have 31-17. The Buckeyes should be here any moment, Tim.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be looking at Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith getting off the bus. Do you think we get a final update that's promising for Buckeye fans?
I'm not sure Ryan Day's going to give us a final update. He's been sticking to the routine, right? That's his motto this year. But it'll be interesting to see if both of them get off the bus. That's number one. You can't play if you're not here.
That's right. And that's, we even saw Carnell get off the bus in Purdue.
Correct.
When he didn't play in that game. So that'll certainly be interesting. I want to circle back to this Michigan defense because that's so often what we've pinpointed over the years, the defense and the offensive line. Is this I keep looking every time I see headlights.
I know.
Is this the same Michigan defense as we've seen in years before? Or is this team too young?
No, I mean this team got owned. They got owned by USC several weeks ago and stuff in the run game, and they know that it's kind of a youngish group. They're pointing toward next year as much as anything else, but they can still sneak into the college football playoff if they beat the number one team in the country, right? But the bottom line is this is not the same. They're not as strong across the front. They're good up front and in the front seven, but they're not as, they don't have Mason Graham running around out there. And like I said, the telling stat in last year's game was Mason Graham was in on 7 tackles. He was averaging about 2.5 going into the game. That kind of puts in a capsule what Ohio State tried to do and didn't get it done. But I would think Ohio State's going to have a little more success up front blocking these guys, and then that paving the way. But as the old saying goes, we got to watch it. We got to watch it play out.
All right, we got to watch it play out. I
don't know if that's an old saying.
No, you made it an old saying. I can't tell you, we were hoping to have Dom join us on this live stream. The Buckeyes were a little earlier. Dom, if you can hear me, just going to communicate with the booth here. I am dialed in, so I can hear online too as we wait for the Buckeyes. If you guys want to jump in here and let me know. But until then, you and I, we've got a lot to talk about. It's the biggest game of the year. It's crazy to think about. My biggest concern for Ohio State is that you go into this game and you let the game be bigger than it is. And I've been pleasantly surprised with the team this year at how they have pretty much treated it like it's any other game. Not in the way that's disrespectful. Some fans have said, hey, you don't want to go out there and disrespect the rivalry. They know how big it is. But even when you look at the trailer that they put out, Tim, everybody's been circling that. It felt like that trailer was very much just every other game. It's every other game you see. There was, hey, we know it's a big game, but we are not going to allow this game to be bigger than it is.
The good teams, when you have a good defense, it makes you feel a lot better about yourself. And when you can roll into a road trip, like at Washington, the young quarterback, Damon Williams, they didn't let him get off. And it was a kind of a tight first half, as you well know. You were there. But then they took care of business in the second half. And this is a great defense. Gives you confidence going in that you're going to be in the game. Now, what are you going to do offensively and stuff? And I think that's the way this team has played. Taking a while, sometimes on the road to get going offensively, sometimes not. But the bottom line is they feel really good that their defense is going to keep them in the game and maybe even make some plays that flip it. So I think that's why you feel different about this team. Maybe last year they had the number one defense in the country, but they didn't score enough points. I mean, and they did give up a drive at the end for the game-winning field goal and stuff. But you got to stop them when you have a chance to stop it, and you got to score when you have the ball in your hands.
Well, that's been the one thing. If you look at the last 4 games, the Buckeye offense in the second half has had a major problem of getting off the field. The Buckeye defense, that defense is not the same anymore. It's got a new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, ready to go in that defense. So I do think that's going to be a problem solved here, but there are Buckeye fans that constantly have been frustrated with the idea that you get to half, you get the opportunity in this game, and they just couldn't seem to stop this Wolverines.
Yeah.
I look last year. They're one tackle away in the backfield from this thing being all said and done. Ohio State getting the ball back and maybe going and winning.
Yes.
Instead, that changes everything. It changes the narrative. Maybe helps the Buckeyes win a national title with their reset. Tim, I am cold. I'm like shaking.
This is one of those
How do you handle this for a football game?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the wind's blowing just enough to make it extremely uncomfortable out here. But you're right about the defense. I mean, you got to make plays, man. You got to make tackles when you have that shot, etc. Like you said, they couple, 3, 4 times last year they could have taken advantage of it. Now with Bryce Underwood, they haven't been very good throwing the ball down the field this year. I'm talking about Michigan's quarterback. But I remember J.J. McCarthy. Remember, he would not throw the ball down the field, right?
And then he got in this game.
Then he got into this game down in Columbus, and boom, they hit 3 big touchdown passes. That was it.
All right, we hear sirens. I think we have finally made it. Ted is Tim May, 97.1 The Fan. All right, we are going to bring in Ryan Day and the Buckeyes as they pull up here. Just want a quick question. Are we going to stay with Ryan Day and the Buckeyes as they pull up here? I think we're going to, I was just told in my ear we may not, but I think we should as the Buckeyes and the sirens are rapidly approaching. We're going to come over this way, Dan. You want to keep talking while we wait on them? We can see them, we just can't.
You can hear them, we just can't see them.
All right, it's exactly right. We just need them to show up here.
So much for that plan of interviewing.
Yeah, now I guess we're all moving out here. We thought we were going to interview them in here, but everybody's moving. So a lot of people are going to be looking at who gets off the bus, how they look getting off the bus with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith and Lorenzo Stouts. We heard he had a good week of practice this week, but we do want to know, make sure that he's good to go in that nickel position for the Buckeyes. And I can finally...
Hello, everybody. Dom Tiberi coming to you live from the 10 TV studios. We are on the eve of the game. Top-ranked Ohio State on the road tomorrow at 15th-ranked Michigan. Earlier today, the Buckeyes got on buses, bused to the airport, and flew into Ann Arbor. They are right now arriving at the team hotel. Our Adam King will join us live right now from outside the team hotel. Understand you hear sirens and the team is arriving.
Yes, the bus just did pull up right here. We're going to show you over our shoulder. Ryan Day pulling up, the team getting ready to get off and get set for the big game. It's hard to believe, but it's finally here. We talked about it now for 364 days with the Buckeyes waiting for this chance at revenge. They've treated this week a lot differently than we've normally seen. A lot of routine. Well, they're driving on buses now. They flew in just a few minutes ago because they wanted to keep this just like any other game. And here you can see this first bus is going to pull up. We're going to get the chance to talk with Ryan Day as he gets off the bus and get his final thoughts and an update, I'm sure, on Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate as the Buckeyes get set for this massive game, knowing this is it. It's been 4 years since we've seen Ohio State beat this Michigan team. 6 years, 4 straight losses for the Buckeyes, and they're trying to end that right now. So we're going to let you listen into this conversation with Ryan Day for the final time ahead of the game. We're going to walk over here around the side so that we can hear Ryan.
Ryan, are Jeremiah and Carnell here? Are they good to go?
They are on the trip and looking for a good night of preparation. We just, just flew in. It was a great flight, and looking forward to having great preparation tonight. We'll continue to do that all the way to kickoff. But Coach, they're here and excited.
How do you think your team prepared for this test?
Well, very similar to how we have all year. A little extra focus. Just a different look in their eye this week, and so I want to continue that tonight, and then wake up in the morning with great energy and go get a win.
We know the emotion. You go ahead.
I know it's an early light out for you on these noon games. Yeah. How do you guys actually sleep on a night like this before a game like this?
Well, it's funny, that's why you try to get sleep early in the week, because it's a little bit harder for a game like this for sure, but we'll do the same routine and make sure you have a great meal and do bed check and get them to bed early.
You talk about playing with emotion, but not letting emotion play with you. How do you slowly let that balance out here as you ramp up and get closer to kickoff?
Well, you just keep talking to the guys about it and have a plan when they get on the field and what that comes with, and just been talking about it every day, all week, about what that looks like and the focus that needs to happen in this game, and we all have to do our job. And that's really what it comes down to. In any type of mission, everybody has a job they have to do, and they have to execute it when they get on the field. Right. So, that's been it, and that's going to continue to be the message all the way to kickoff.
You feel like you have a good handle on what kind of weather conditions you're going to face, or you just have to kind of roll with the punches tomorrow?
I think kind of like this. Maybe some snow later in the game, but no, it's the same for both teams, and can't wait for it.
You've got feet on the ground now inside the state of Michigan. What is it like to be here and the excitement as we approach this time?
There's a good bounce in everybody's step right now. So. We'll just focus on tonight, having a good meal, and keeping the guys locked in. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. That was head coach Ryan Day. We're going to pivot around here. A lot of the players, I do believe, have just gotten off the bus. We're going to see if anybody is still left as head coach Ryan Day walks into the locker room. You heard the very first question there and the very first answer. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith both did make the trip to Michigan, which is a good sign because, as Tim May said earlier, you cannot play in the game if you are not here. We want to see Carnell on that field tomorrow. You want to see Jeremiah. Dom, I know you're still in the studio. Do you want to talk a little bit about this big game? I mean, it's a massive matchup getting set for this one against the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, I will say this. Ryan Day seems very confident. He seems very poised. I was at the Woody Hayes when the team left. These guys all had their game faces on. They looked the same, and I love the fact that we're going to make the routine. That means you fly up. So it was a 25-minute flight, if that. And, they probably spent more time having people look through the stuff to make sure whatever was getting on the plane. But they are there now. But the important thing to remember is that Ohio State has lost 4 games in a row to these guys. And to me, I think there is really a slow burn with Ryan Day and this football team, and I think they want to enact some revenge tomorrow. I really do believe that is a factor. I mean, I don't think Ryan Day has ever forgotten about the fact that Jim Harbaugh said he was born on third base. I don't think he has forgotten the fact that they said Ohio State was not tough or mentally tough. And we have seen all that and the way it transpired. I think he wants to go in there and turn his guys loose. I hope the weather's good. But he's right. It'll be bad for both of them if it's bad. But we saw it culminate a year ago with that video right there when they staked the flag. I hope Ohio State goes out, takes care of business, and then you know what? Nod your head and walk off the field. Don't stoop to their level.
I think that's a good point. I think that's exactly what you want to see from this Buckeye team. Go out there, win like you've done it before, and they have many times. Michigan likes to talk right now, and that's fine. They've won 4 straight, but let's not act like Ohio State hasn't won this in decades. They dominated this rivalry from 2010 to 2021, but nobody wants to talk about that right now. The Buckeyes, they have won in Ann Arbor many, many times. They just have to go out there and play as they have so many times before, Don. I've got to say, I love the feeling from Ryan Day all week, including until that final moment we just got to hear from him. He seems loose. He seems like a guy, he was watching over our shoulder as the players were getting off the bus. He wanted to make sure, he talks about that look in your eye. Want to make sure that they look right, make sure that they're locked in. That's what you want to see. This is a different feel from Ohio State. Talk to a lot of Michigan fans today. They are very confident, and that is fine. That's all you have if you're Michigan right now to go into this game, because they can all probably agree that Ohio State has the better football team. So the question is, how can you stop that? They're rooting for snow. They're rooting for a ground game that, does favor Michigan when you get into those nitty-gritty games in the past in the rivalry, but I don't think that's the case this year. Ohio State's offensive line, it's one of the best in the country. Their defensive line, find a way to exploit it. You want to run the ball, Michigan? I'll tell you about Caden McDonald. He's one of the best rush stoppers in the country for this Buckeye team. I'm really excited to see how this all plays out for them. Good news is the good news, Dom. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are in the state of Michigan. That is what you wanted to see today.
Well, and I'm glad you're talking to the Michigan fans, because I have no desire to talk to those people. I don't want to hear what they have to say. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Congratulations. Act like you've been there before. You brought it up absolutely correctly. Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel dominated Michigan. And you didn't hear anything and all that. And now, congratulations, you won 4 in a row. But these things come in cycles, and I think it's about to change. I hope it's about to change. And, I loved when Ryan Day, first question, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and he smiled. And he said they're both on the plane. And they're both, he came this close. What I heard is they're both going to play tomorrow, and let's just hope they do.
Yeah.
And let's hope that the weather's that's going to be the tricky thing. I just talked to our weather folks again, and they're saying about noon it's going to start snowing. Now, they're not saying when, but they're saying snow. And you know what? Sometimes when it snows, the advantage goes to the receiver and the quarterback, because you know where they're going. You know where you're going to throw the ball. And as an old football guy, you know, you're as a secondary guy, if the field gets a little slick, you know, you don't know where they're going, and that's when you see slips and whatever. I'm hoping that if it does snow, just snow, no wind, because and then the other thing I want to say, this O-line has got a nastiness to them, and I've talked to some of the O-linemen about it, and I love it. They are nasty guys, and I want them to be real nasty tomorrow. And you know what? The running game's coming to life at the right time. You want it? If we can't throw the ball, if Ohio State can't throw, line it up and run it down their throat. We've got 4 guys on this football team that all can do different things. I love the way C.J. Donaldson's on the goal line, but guess what? This guy right there, Bo Jackson, how about the way he's becoming a home run hitter, especially on the goal line? I'll tell you, you got to win the game. You got to go out and play it. They're favored by 9.5. They were favored by 21. But I love the attitude of this club. I love Ryan Day's attitude. I hope that carries over tomorrow. And you know what? Turn them loose. Turn them loose. That's what I say. And let them go.
Dom, I completely agree. This is it. I think there are Buckeye fans that are nervous tomorrow. I am excited to see this Ohio State offense. Ryan Day said when they need to go, they're going to go. And I think tomorrow is the go. I will say I can't feel my hands. You've probably seen throughout this live stream, I'm absolutely shivering. It is so cold with the wind up here. That's the big point. You can't have the wind. Makes it so much tougher on Julian saying, I don't think Ohio State cares. I think if this is 12 feet of snow tomorrow, Ohio State is going to come out here and find a way to win this game. Ryan Day has said it a million times. They both play on the same field. They both deal with the same problems. Bryce Underwood, he's been a little bit off with a lot of his throws as of late. Adding an element like this, we haven't really seen him play in an element like this. I think it could affect him just as much, if not more, than Julian saying, just let it rip. If Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are on the field tomorrow, the 2 best players in college football are on Ohio State's offense. The 2 best players in college football on defense are on Ohio State's defense. Let them loose. Let them go play this game and take out some anger that's been going on now for 6 years. Every time I say it this week, I can't believe it's been since Justin Fields that Ohio State won in this game. It's time to reset the rivalry for the Buckeyes. They did some hard resets this week, and I think tomorrow's the time, Dom.
Well, let me tell you what. To quote that show that involves some dragons and whatever, I think winter is coming.
Game of Thrones.
Well, winter is coming. Winter is coming.
It's here.
To the Wolverines. And Bryce Underwood, let me just tell you what. I am such a big fan of Matt Patricia and Timmy Walton, what they've done. And Matt Patricia, do you think he's not coached in big games, ladies and gentlemen? What are we talking about? The man coached for Bill Belichick, has 3 Super Bowls to his name, and he is bringing a pro defense to Ann Arbor tomorrow. I can't wait to see what he's done because he's been holding things back. You know he's been holding things back. You know Ryan Day and Brian Hartline have been holding things back. This is the game to let it go. You know, and this is the game to let it swing. I mean, they're going to be in the playoff. They are a playoff team. They know they can win the national title no matter what. They're going to get into that, and they can still, that goal of winning a national title is still alive. But they need to take care of this business, you know, and then if they take care of this, then the next week they'll be in the Big Ten title game. I think that Big Ten title game eventually needs to go away, but if you're going to play in it, go beat Indiana. But take care of business tomorrow. Beat these guys. Know that you're going to be in the playoff. Know that if you beat them, they're not getting into the playoff. And, you know, and then let them run. Let that guy that works for Fox that runs his mouth, I will not say his name because he doesn't deserve to have it said, but that guy runs his mouth saying just ridiculous things. Well, guess what? That is all bulletin board material. All of that. You know, Jim Tressel used to talk about, don't be the guy to end up on the bulletin board. You don't want to be that guy. Well, for 6 years, Michigan has been that guy. And now that gentleman at Fox is that guy. And he'll be running his mouth tomorrow. I don't care what he has to say. He's not playing in the game. But guess who is? Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese. Sonny Styles. All those guys, they've heard it, and they've let it build up. Well, it's time to unleash winter tomorrow. And Bryce Underwood, last time I checked, Bryce Underwood is a freshman. A freshman. He has not played against a defense like he's going to face tomorrow.
I think you're exactly right, Tom. I think this week might have been more cathartic for you than it has been for the Buckeyes to get all this anger out of the last 4 years. Ohio State's waiting to do all that in the locker room tomorrow with an opportunity to really celebrate, as Ryan said, in the locker room. That's the important step for them. I don't think they want to, have any scenes of last year and now the Michigan edition in the big house. But for Ohio State, there is an energy with this team. There is a business as usual energy that I can't remember in this game. An opportunity for this team to come out and really put everything in the past behind them. I've called it a perfect year. I think it's unbelievable that you could say of Ohio State this time tomorrow night is still undefeated. They will have not lost a game in a calendar year. That is remarkable to say. For the Buckeyes, it could not have gone any better in the Ryan Day era if they can get the win tomorrow, and they know that. The buses have pulled away. The team, they're eating team dinner, and they're, as you heard Ryan Day, it's hard to sleep on a night like tonight. We all know that they're going to be up. Their mind's going to be racing. They want to get after it. The good news is they don't have to wait too long tomorrow. But for Ohio State, there are so many things that they can put to an end tomorrow at noon. And you said it in your passionate way of anger towards Dave Portnoy, which I'll say his name's, it's not that important in the grand scheme of the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. You give him too much credit not saying his name. Ohio State, I'm perfectly fine with the Buckeyes kind of keeping it all compartmentalized, as you said, not giving the bulletin board material, and then they go out there tomorrow. Let the play talk for itself. Let the Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate catches talk for themselves. But I will say, I've said it 3 times now, it is so cold out here, Dom. Well, you said winter's coming. Winter is here. It is 100% in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It is freezing, and hopefully tomorrow the Buckeyes have good working heaters on their sideline.
Well, there will be heat on the field tomorrow for sure, and there's going to be heat in that ridiculous tunnel they have up there. I hope Ohio State doesn't engage in that nonsense with them, because they will try that. They're just pesky. They're pesky, and you see it. They whatever. They need to be knocked down a notch. They need to be taught a lesson. You think about the stuff that has transpired in the last 6 years. The whole Connor Stallion stuff. And it culminated last year with them trying to stake a flag. And Jack Sawyer said, you guys beat us, but you're not going to do that. And Jack Sawyer, Buckeye legend. And we saw what that game did. After that game, Ohio State, that players-only meeting with Coach Day, and they figured out a lot of things on the way to a national title. You know what? I want to see Ohio State win. I want to see them win with class. I want them to remember they are the defending national champions. They are the national champions. And go out there and just say, hey, we've been here before. This is the way a class team acts. We don't stake flags. We don't do any of that.
I think you're exactly right. Just go out there and win as they always have. They've always, you
point at the scoreboard.
In Ohio.
Point at the scoreboard.
Okay, that's fine. Point at the scoreboard, which will read 31-17, Dom. I just want to let you know. See in the future, that's the exact final score of this game. A Buckeye late touchdown. We're going to head over to the Big House. We're live on 10 TV, 7:30 right after this Boise State football game. So we're going to have all the recap from that, Dom. The excitement in Ann Arbor. We're going to let you hear from some of those fans. I know you don't want to hear from them, but I even found a couple of Michigan fans that are from Columbus. They made the trip up. They wanted to stay secret, but we were going to expose their identity because they were willing to do an interview. Hear what Michigan fans are saying. One Michigan fan today, he called the Buckeyes an unnecessary nut, which I thought was it was so rude to say. And that's the kind of trash talk that Ohio State has to put an end to here tomorrow at noon, because Michigan fans have been able to run their mouths for 6 years now, since Justin Fields, and it's time that all comes to a conclusion here in the Big House tomorrow, sometime around 3:30 with a blanket of snow over the field.
All right, we'll come inside, get warmed up for a minute. We will be coming up right after the football game, 7:30. Adam will join us live from Ann Arbor. I'm picking the Bucks to win, by the way, 35-14. And I am also predicting the defense will score in tomorrow's game, and I got special teams bringing one back. So I'm swinging for the fences. Swinging for the fences. And
Tight end Max Clare is this going to be the star of the show.
Well, you had predicted that. Although, I'll tell you what, if you got the two best receivers in the country and they're able to go and they're able to play, ooh, boy, winter's really coming. All right, he's Adam King. I'm Dom Tiberi. We'll have more coming up on linear TV, regular TV at 7:30. And then Adam will also join us on 10 TV coming up tonight at 11. Keep it on 10 TV, 10 TV Plus, and 97.1 The Fan for all the best Buckeye coverage there is.